I'm going to be teaching you the process of teaching your kindergarten students the measurement and data standard B3, which is to identify the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, and to recognize the value of each. As your students grow and get older, they will use money almost every day in their lives. So it's important for them to know the basis from which money comes, and to start with coins is a great way to do that, and then work your way up to understanding different dollars, and then maybe how banks work, and maybe how credit cards work, and things like that. But kindergartners definitely can understand this concept. You could start with showing them the quarter and teaching them that and working your way down to a penny, or you could start with the penny and working your way up to a quarter. I think it would be easiest to start with the penny and work your way up to the quarter, just because the penny is so different from all the other coins. It's got a different color, it's smaller than the others. I believe it's a little bit bigger than the dime, but it's pretty small in comparison to the quarter and the nickel. So that would help them understand that a little better. I would start by using some kind of organizer or just leaving notes on the whiteboard for the students. Most of your kindergartners aren't going to be able to read big words, so I would start with just writing the letter P on the whiteboard and then kind of giving it some characteristics. So as we already said, the penny has a different color. Most of your students are going to want to call it brown, but I believe it is made of a copper. So I would introduce that word to them so that they understand that that is the correct term for this color, and that is the color of the penny. They'll know it's a little bit different. You can remember this by telling the kids, hey, the P is for copper, which has P's in it. And then on the back, if you look closely, it says right there that it's worth 1 cent. So you can show your students that so that they understand that that is the value of the coin is 1 cent. Another recognizable trait about the penny is that it has our President Abraham Lincoln on there. They may or may not know who Abraham Lincoln is at this age. It depends on their exposure from their parents and pre-K teachers and stuff like that as to what they know about past presidents. But Abraham Lincoln is going to be a huge part of their history curriculum, and he's a big part for the United States in general. So if they start getting exposure to that name this early, it'll be great help for them later on because they'll recognize the name. So those are some of our attributes to help our students remember the penny. Next, you would want to start with the nickel if you're working your way up like I am. I would first off show the students the nickel. So we've got our friend Thomas Jefferson on there. So I would want to make that known. I would write either nickel or big N next on my graphic organizer to represent the nickel. And I would say, this is Thomas Jefferson. He's going to be someone that you're going to know a lot about once you start getting into your upper level history lessons and things like that. He's a big part of history, and he's an incredible person in my personal opinion. He did a lot for the United States, and I think he had a huge impact on everything that he did. So I think that your students would need to know that. They will also recognize this color. It's silver. They may call it gray, but I would tell them, hey, this is silver. It's shiny, it's exciting, it's something that they would want to know. And then if you look really closely on the nickel there, it says 5 cents. It's kind of hard to see, but it says 5 cents. So you would want to show your students how to represent the 5-cent mark. Once they have understood that about the nickel, they can look on the back and see. They see that it's bigger than the dime and smaller than the quarter, so it's right there in the middle. That is something that will help them also understand the differences between the coins. Then you would want to work your way up to the dime. The dime is smaller than the penny. It's the smallest coin of all, in fact. And it's got our friend Franklin Delano Roosevelt on there, FDR. So you'd want to make sure your students know who he is. Another huge name in history. They don't put these people on currency just for nothing. They have had huge impacts, and that's something that our students need to be aware of. Who's on our currency and why. So FDR is right here on our dime. Now, unlike the penny and the nickel, it doesn't explicitly say anywhere that it's worth 10 cents. But on this side here, where it says United States of America, it does say 1 dime. The easiest way, I think, for students to remember that that's worth 10 cents is because it's more than a nickel and less than a quarter. And 10 is bigger than 5, but less than 25. Your kindergarten students may or may not understand that concept yet, but it's something that they should definitely be introduced to. So by understanding that, understanding the size, who's on it, it will definitely help them be able to identify and recognize the dime. The last coin that we have to look at is the quarter. It looks like this. On one side says United States of America, got our big bald eagle, and it's got our very first president, George Washington, on it. I would add to my graphic organizer or my whiteboard list, quarter, Q, and I would let them know about George Washington. If they don't already know that he was the first president and, think that he chopped down a cherry tree or had wooden teeth or all of those things that we now know are not true, then you could teach them all the great things that he did about being our first president and how he established this country and how he worked really hard at his job. Those are all things that they're going to want to know. You can also tell them, hey, he's on the dollar. Like, that means he was that much more of a part of history. Like we've already established, they don't put these people on currency just because. They put them on there because they're significant to our history. A notable fact here, on the bottom there, it says $quarter. That's also pretty hard to see. But if you can get these to your students and show them up close, they'll understand that $quarter. That will not mean a whole lot to kindergarten students, but we know that $1 is 100 cents. So we would know that a quarter of that 100 divided by 4 equals 25 cents. So the easiest way to teach that to your students is to tell them, hey, this right here is $quarter. So 4 of these equal $1 whole. That's going to be easy for them to remember because when they play those little claw games at grocery stores and things like that, they're going to be like, oh, Mom, can I have 4 quarters? And they're going to understand that that's worth 25 cents each because it costs $1 to play the game. Another easy way for them to remember this is 25 cents is the most that any of these coins are worth. And it's the biggest. So it'll be easy for them to understand, hey, 25 is the biggest number. So that must be what the quarter represents. Anyway, that is how I would personally teach my kindergartners the standard B3 for measurement and data. I would start with the penny right here, work my way up to the quarter, and show them the dime and the nickel in between. I hope these steps help you in teaching your students, and I hope that your students love working with money as much as mine do.